Here, you're gonna sing.
I'm going to sing.
Aye.
So quite often when I get here, I've worked on new songs, or I have thoughts, and I have plenty of thoughts. Every time I come here, this is a great place to kind of collect the muse and let thoughts seep in and just write stuff down. And I've got a bunch of stuff, but nothing really came out of it. So I don't have anything new for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing some songs. When I travel for work sometimes, my kids watch my songs on YouTube, and so this one's just going to go back to some old ones. These are all by Kenny Rogers, and for me, these were like really important songs. They were like almost spiritual songs. They had meaning. The first one's called "The Gambler." On a warm desert eve, on a train bound for nowhere, I met up with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns staring out the window at the darkness. The boredom overtook us, and he began to speak. He said, "Son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces, knowing what the cards were by the way they held their eyes. And if you don't mind saying, I can see you're out of aces. For a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice." So I handed him my bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light. And the night got deathly quiet, and his face lost all expression. He said, "If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You gotta count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done." Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep. 'Cause every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser, and the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. And when he finished speaking, he turned back towards the window, crushed out his cigarette, and faded off to sleep. And somewhere in the darkness, the gambler, he broke even. And in his final words, I found an ace that I could keep. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Thank you. So, you might not notice this from my incredibly manly stature and physique, but I was a total nerd. Am still a complete and unrepentant nerd. But growing up, there's one of Kenny Rogers' songs that I really, really like, because it's this whole, like, you'll get him in the end kind of song. And that's this one. It's called "The Coward of the County." Everyone considered him the coward of the county. He'd never stood a single time to prove the county wrong. His mama named him Tommy, but folks just called him Yellow. Something always told me they were reading Tommy wrong. He was only 10 years old when his daddy died in prison. I looked after Tommy 'cause he was my brother's son. I still recall the final words his daddy said to Tommy. "Son, my life is over, yours has just begun." And I heard him say, Promise me, son, not to do the things I done. You walk away from trouble if you can. Now it don't mean you're weak if you turn the other cheek. I hope you're old enough to understand. Son, you don't gotta fight to be a man. There's someone for everyone, and Tommy's love was Becky. In her arms he didn't have to prove he was a man. One day while he was working, the Gatlin boys came calling. They took turns at Becky, and there was 3 of them. Tommy opened up the door and saw his Becky crying. The torn dress, the shattered look was more than he could stand. He reached above the fireplace, took down his daddy's picture. As tears fell on his daddy's face, he heard these words again. Promise me, son, not to do the things I done. You walk away from trouble if you can. Now it don't mean you're weak if you turn the other cheek. I hope you're old enough to understand. Son, you don't gotta fight to be a man. Now the Gatlin boys just laughed at him when he walked into the barroom. One of them got up and met him halfway across the floor. When Tommy turned around, they said, "Hey, look, old Yella's leaving." But you could have heard a pin drop when Tommy stopped and locked the door. 20 years of crawling was bottled up inside him. He wasn't holding nothing back, he let 'em have it all. When Tommy left the barroom, not a Gatlin boy was standing. He said this once for Becky as he watched the last one fall. And I heard him say, "I promised your dad not to do the things you done. I'll walk away from trouble if I can. Now please don't think I'm weak, I couldn't turn the other cheek. And Papa, I sure hope you understand. Sometimes you gotta fight when you're a man." Everyone considered him a coward of county. Thank you.
That's a whole lot of yay from and for Scooty.